Hello all and welcome, and I'm the MGTOW philosopher. And in this video, my favorite time of the week has come. Your comments, where I review my favorite comments from the previous week. Some of them are good, some of them are bad, some of them are very, very stupid, and some of them are hilarious. So that's why it's my favorite time of the week. I get to bust loose, just ad-lib, be fancy-free, and not worry about what I say, what I do, whatever. Just be myself and say what I really think about what you really think from your comments to me. And it's getting more and more difficult to find negative ones because so many of you love my content, which I appreciate. You out there that support me with your kind words, keep it up. I love you guys. But I do get a special joy from the ridiculously stupid comments because they just put a smile on my face and make me laugh. I'm not saying post more negative comments, of course, that's up to you, but they're so funny. So let's begin with comment number 1 from a fellow named Last Soldier from my video, White Privilege is a Myth. Racism works on percentage. Of course, there are poor whites, but globally, there are few. He didn't say there are few. He said that is few. Yeah, okay. Of course, a few whites are thrown under the bus. Yeah, I guess they're just thrown under the bus as to make it look like we're not having privilege. That's just to trick everybody else into thinking we don't have privilege. We sacrifice some of our white people to keep up the conspiracy that we're really not privileged when we are. But overall, people of color don't have the same opportunities. Really? Are you kidding me? Let's think about it. So if you're a black man, you get plus 260 points on your SAT when you go to apply for college. So if you have a white man there and he applies and he actually scored a 1260 and you just scored, say, 1,005 as a black man, now you're 12,600, now you're 12,065. Oh, you got 5 more points, you're let into college, he doesn't get in. Boy, that sure sounds like privilege to me. Or you apply for the same job, okay? And the white man might be slightly more qualified, but you want to fill your quota, and you also want to look virtuous and say, hey, yeah, we have black people working for us too, we're not racist, so the black man gets hired for the job. Doesn't have the same opportunities? Really? I don't know. It seems like he has the same opportunities to me. In fact, it seems like he has more opportunities, which is part of the problem. I don't see how disenfranchising white people to enfranchise black people helps anybody. Why not just give them both a level playing field instead of trying to make up for so-called inequities in the past, which is the past, which is not now. 2 wrongs do not make a right. Next comment, non-luminous flame. From my video, Old Men, MGTOW, and Flat Earthers. MGTOW philosopher. Also, forget you. Forget me. You clearly can't forget me, buddy. I'm in your head, ain't I? That's right, I got you psyched out, buddy. I don't associate with my parents, and I'd gladly beat you up. To this day, I don't know where his making a comment about his parents and associating with them, what that has anything to do with the argument. I looked at all his comments. There was no connection there with parents. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. And I'd gladly beat you up. Well, you're probably psycho, so forget you. Non-luminous flames are the ones that burn blue. Okay, what the fuck do I care? What you going to give me a lesson on flames that are non-luminous as they burn blue? Okay. These flames have access to as much oxygen as they could possibly use so they can burn very efficiently. All the carbon that get used up, oh God, can be turned into CO2 so there's actually no soot. Why is this guy telling me this? I just thought it was so random. That it was funny. That it was just out of left field. It made no sense whatsoever, which a lot of the comments I get do, which is why they're so humorous. Next comment, Lock Yes. The real divorce rate, 93%, still seems so high that want to be absolutely sure. I guess he forgot the I. I'll insert it for him. 93% seems so high that I want to be absolutely sure it's correct before I start flooding it all over the internet. Yeah, because your words you're really going to make a difference, pal. You're going to flood the internet so much that all 7.5 billion people on Earth, they know this truth that nobody else knows. And if you think that's a freaking moron, of course other people know these things. Possible explanation of a mix-up at the source static brain. That's the website that posted the original numbers for the real divorce rate, which actually come from the U.S. Census Bureau, not the CDC. The CDC is just the government organization that took that information and then cooked up the bullshit numbers that we all believe. What if the number of divorces is not the actual number of divorces in a year, but the percentage of people that have in previous years gotten divorced and so answered divorce as their status? Yeah. Okay, pal, you're an idiot. You know what the fuck you're talking about, okay? Let me tell you how this shit worked, all right? Now, the Census Bureau is the only person actively keeping track of who's getting divorced, okay? Now, the government knows who's getting divorced because people file for divorce in court, so the government knows the number of divorced people in a particular year, and when they tell all you mouth breathers out there that believe this bullshit, that this is how many people, the percentage-wise, got divorced this year in regards to the total number of people married, you just say, oh, okay, as I breathe through my mouth, yeah, that makes sense, yeah. Of course, what you don't seem to realize is that there is no actual point of reference in regards to focus and time, so they're not keeping track of people who got married at one specific time in one specific year and looking at them in a 10-year period. So what the census takers do, every 10 years, they talk to everybody. Are you married? Yes? No? And then 10 years later, they go back to talk to the same people, and all those people, 93.4% who were married at the last census are not married now to the same person. Do you understand how that worked? That's the raw data. The CDC just took that data and cooked it and mixed it all together with everybody who got married, everybody who got divorced in just one specific year, regardless of when they got married or how long they'd been married, okay? So the CDC numbers are bullshit, and they tried to make it look like it was somehow less like bullshit by outlining actual percentage numbers of this is how many people in the first marriage got divorced this year, and how many people who were in the second marriage got divorced this year, and this is how many people in the third marriage got divorced this year. That's only for that particular year, you morons. They're not talking about a 10-year span. These people got married in 2007. And of those people that got married in 2007, only X amount are married now in 2017. That's what the Census Bureau did. That's where those numbers came from, because the government has not actively been charting divorces since 1996. Okay? So the only raw data they have is simply people who get divorced in a specific year and the census takers every 10 years. They're not going out of their way to find out any new information they don't want to know, and they don't want you to know either. So that's where those numbers came from the Statistic Brain website that I listed on that video. Those numbers didn't actually come from a study the CDC did. The CDC developed their numbers based off of numbers that actually originally came from the United States Census Bureau. I hope that explains things better, because I'm getting tired of talking about this fucking video about the real divorce rate, because there's so many you mouth breathers out there, and so many you red-pilled morons who don't want to accept reality because you want to continue to think the marriage is some kind of good thing to justify the fact that you dummies got married. Well, it's not. Get over it. Next, Derek in New York City. Fat women, why men hate them. I love that title of mine. It's wonderful, and it's true, too. This MGTOW video had a very mean-spirited tone to it. Yes, I'm so mean. I'm so nasty and evil. Yes, I am. I'm just horrible, Derek. I'm horrible, don't you know? In my opinion, this should not be the way of the MGTOW, as it mirrors the tone of feminism and compromises our moral high ground. I'm not trying to have any moral high ground. I'm trying to speak reality. So if you don't like facts, maybe you should go to a liberal channel and listen to some liberals spout off nonsense and moral platitudes so that they can sound superior to everybody else and sound more virtuous. I'm about speaking truth. You don't like truth? You're probably in the wrong place, buddy. And by the way, mirrors the tone of feminism. No, it speaks the truth. It's reality. Men don't like fat women. That's just it. What are you talking about? Mirrors feminism. Please, give me a break. I'm done talking about that one. Next, by Automate, and my video, Universal Basic Income is a Trojan Horse. A video that should get more watches, but people apparently aren't interested in the big issues such as this. Everyone in modern society needs an livable income. It's a livable income, you moron. An is for words that begin with vowels and vowel sounds. Everyone in modern society doesn't need a job. Oh, really? How are you going to eat? What, are you going to go out and live in the woods and dig up mushrooms and roots and shit and shoot monkeys in the trees and kill deer with a bow and arrow and shit? How are you going to live, pal? Where are you going to get your sustenance? What, are you going to burn out the hollow of a tree and live in the tree? How are you going to survive without a job? How are you going to survive? Everyone in modern society doesn't need a job. A livable income enables you to work. What? Well, you just contradicted yourself. First you said that everyone in modern society doesn't need a job. Then you said that getting free money enables you to work. What the fuck are you talking about? If I'm getting free money, why would I work, first of all? And you just said everyone in society doesn't need a job, which means that you were saying getting a livable income means you don't need a job. But you just contradicted yourself and said that getting free money from the government enables you to work. How does that enable you to work, you moron? That's the stupidest thing I ever heard. You can't work very efficiently without a livable home. Oh, I see his logic. So, yeah, the chicken before the egg before the chicken bullshit. All right, so, oh, yeah, I'm getting a livable income now from the government, so it's enabling me to have a house and somewhere to sleep and food to eat, and then go out and get a job. But, of course, why would I get a fucking job if I have everything I need provided for me free by the government, you fucking moron? But because your stomach is empty, you don't get enough sleep and other people think you stink. Well, why are you not working to begin with? Because you're a lazy bum? How in the fuck is getting free money going to make you not a lazy bum, huh? And a lot of people not working are lazy bums because they get free money from the fucking government and welfare, and then because they don't have to work. And a lot of people prefer being homeless to working. Did you know that? Do you know a lot of people out there who are homeless are just homeless because they're lazy? No. So how in the fuck is getting more free money going to make them work? And the rest of the people that are fucking drug addicts and alcoholics and mentally ill people, well, getting more free money ain't going to make them work either. They're just going to buy more drugs and alcohol. So your point has no veracity. Free money isn't going to make anybody work. It's going to make more people not work. You try to explain this to people. They just don't get it. Stupidity knows no bounds. Next, The Misfit on stopping illegal aliens. So the solution is slavery. It would just be easier if they just cut all the welfare programs. No need to spend money on a wall. No need for prison and sweatshops. Okay, first of all, yeah, there is a reason to build a fucking wall because you got terrorists coming across, you got drugs coming across, you got coyotes raping 80% of the women that they bring across. Yeah, there's reasons to have a wall, pal. Okay, walls work. Take a look at Israel, dummy. They're getting like thousands, tens of thousands of freaking people breaking into their country every year, immigrating there illegally and blowing them up. And then right after they built the wall, like 2 guys got in that following year. Yeah, like 2, 3 guys. You get drops from tens of thousands to like 2 guys. Walls work, okay? So don't tell me walls don't fucking work, all right? And as for I don't need prison sweatshops, well, I was talking about my plan of building prisons specifically for illegal aliens. If they come to this country illegally and they've committed a felony, it should be a felony is what I'm saying to enter our country illegally because, hey, it's a felony to enter Mexico illegally. You should automatically get 2 years in prison. The next time you do it 5 years and then 10 years. And each time you should go to a prison and be forced to work and to pay people for the resources that you were using for being there, being in prison, and to benefit the country. We should benefit from these scumbags breaking our laws. Make them go to prison. Make them work. And yes, supply profit to an American company that stays in America instead of sending $56 billion in remittances out of the country, which was what illegals do every year, which is way more than a fucking wall would cost you, moron. This bleeding heart bullshit. Oh, no, we can't put people in prison and then make them work. No, They should just sit around and watch fucking Oprah all day and eat 3 meals a day, get free cable and whatever the hell else they want. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Next comment, Mr. Sinatra 1. They always believe her narrative. Here's the video where I talk about always believing women when they say they've been raped. If a woman makes a false rape accusation and it's proven she lied, I believe the woman should get 10 years in the pen. Strict laws on fuckery will end the fuckery. Yeah, I agree with it. You got these bitches making false rape allegations against men, and they're getting off with a slap on the wrist, or they're getting fucking parole, or they're getting some 6 weeks of community service. You need to pick up some garbage. Of course, if he went to jail, he'd be there forever. Oh, but no, she shouldn't have to suffer any consequences. Next comment. KKPLX. I guess this person didn't have the imagination to come up with an actual name. All right, just randomly typed in letters. I guess that's okay. On the real divorce rate, where are your statistics? If I wanted opinions, I'd listen to feminists. These numbers are the raw data that comes directly from the Census Bureau, okay? They just talk to people 1 year, ask them, are you married? Talk to the people 10 years later, are you still married? 93.4 of them said no. And the census is every motherfucker in the country. That's pretty straightforward. You can't cook those numbers, so they handed them over to the CDC and said, okay, use these numbers and various other data to cook us up some numbers that are essentially palatable to the American people, and we'll make the suckers continue to get married. Next comment. Iron Eagle, 1 week ago, on the video, Old World Men Understood Women, which they did. Giving a woman right to vote, the right to vote, pal. The right to vote is the same as giving a chimpanzee a machine gun under a pretext of defending animal rights. I have to get further away from the microphone so I can laugh my ass off louder. That was funny. Yeah, that's good. Giving a chimpanzee a machine gun. I like that. You know, I like the imagery. Next comment. MGTOW beta male laugh out loud on my video PUA and MGTOW. You idiots don't get it. PUA and MGTOW can't coexist. Oh, really? TFL and MGTOW can't coexist either. I don't have sex with women. Okay, so you're a MGTOW monk. You're a guy that has essentially sworn off all women, and in your opinion, MGTOW is only for guys who have sworn off women. You can't sleep with women, you can't fuck women, and be MGTOW. So you've applied your own personal standard of what a label specifically is to the whole goddamn world. Okay, gotcha. Because they have terrible attitudes, and women in here in Canada, oh, your grammar is horrible, pal, never get charged lying about rape. Oh, my God. It's so hard to read some of these comments because people can't write. With the new feminist laws in here, Canada, I would be stupid to have sex with women. Yeah, well, maybe. I mean, I don't know. I don't live in Canada. I know that it's more feminist than America, if that is at all possible, which it is. And so, yeah, you might be taking life into your own hands there. So maybe you'd have to think twice about that. But don't say that just because a man sleeps with women, that he's not MGTOW. If he doesn't give her money, if he doesn't let her live with him, if he doesn't marry her, if he's not stupid enough to have kids with her, and if he doesn't transfer any of his resources to her, he is MGTOW regardless of whether or not he's fucking her. Although, granted, he'd probably be smarter just to bang like a fucking one of those silicone life-size dolls. It'd certainly be cheaper. Well, no, you don't spend money on them anyway. I'm just, I'm being cynical there. Honestly, though, you know, some of these life-size dolls, they're pretty reasonable prices and look pretty good, pretty realistic. It's not my cup of tea. I like real women, but, I mean, I don't see anything wrong with it if you want to go that way. Because I've seen some of them, man, that actually you couldn't tell the difference, which is pretty amazing. Now, if they ever get to the point where they have like a life-size, real-looking sex doll lady that walks around and does everything and is like totally automatic, I might consider it. If she's affordable, that is. I mean, if it's a fucking $500,000 doll, no. But if it's $4 or $5 grand, maybe. Next comment. The cynic in me. 4 days ago, PUA and MGTOW. To be honest, MGTOW and PUA pretty much are mutually exclusive. No, I know they're not. Come on, pal. You can sleep with women and pick up women and still be MGTOW so long as you don't spend money on them, okay? Which is possible. if you have balls and confidence and just some game. When you think about it, the whole marriage debate is obsolete. The laws not follow you into PUA territory where it's dangerous just to fuck now. I'm reading this word for word. It doesn't make sense to me either. MGTOW means just don't give women the time of day sexually. Well, I think, come on, man. That's awfully extreme, huh? Don't judge men just because they want to have sex with women. That's absurd. You're creating this blanket statement, this blanket rule that says someone is MGTOW if they do this or don't do that, or if they have sex with women, they can't possibly be MGTOW, all right? You're using the no true Scotsman fallacy. Look it up. All right, it's a pretty well-known staple of logic and reason, and most people who understand anything about philosophy know what it means. You clearly don't, so I would look it up. The no true Scotsman fallacy. If you need an outlet for your energy so badly, then become an MRA, just not a PUA, which is just the Brave New World version of a traditionalist blue pillar. No, it's not. Because if you have some game, you can pick up women, fuck them, and then dump them, and you spend no money, and you do not in any way try to ingratiate yourself to her or puff up her ego or compliment her, open doors for her, or any other bullshit that blue pill guys do. So you are wrong, very wrong. Most men do deep down want a relationship. They just aren't getting it from women, so they settle for casual sex. Well, I thought you just said that it was, if you're a PUA, you're a traditional blue pillar, but now you're saying that a PUA can settle for casual sex. Well, which is it? You choose your poison, pal. You can't say the PUA are both. You can't say that they're both traditional blue pillars and guys that just pump and dump ladies, because the two are mutually exclusive. They're not the same thing at all. As in not child-producing sex. That's about all PUA is. Oh, boy. Okay, pal. All sex is potentially child-producing unless you use spermicide and condoms and, of course, birth control. Not sure what you're trying to say there, but do not try and say that PUA guys are all traditional blue pillars and then say that they're all casual sex guys. That's not even close to the same thing. Your argument makes no sense, but then I can't understand half what you're saying anyway. Next comment. Modern MGTOW. I guess that's his name. Modern MGTOW on the real divorce rate. Fuck! How is 93% of all first marriages ending in divorce not a statistic well known in the MGTOW community? This is the first time I've heard of this. Well, it's the first time you've heard it because nobody talks about it, because nobody goes to look, because people are generally sheep and they trust what the government tells them. They are brainwashed and they tell you something and you believe it because you can't possibly believe it could be any worse than 50%. 50% is bad enough. It couldn't possibly be worse than that, could it? Oh, well, 50% is the context of number of people per year. It doesn't track them by year they got married versus year they got divorced. If you have to have a focus group. You have to have a focus group when you were studying percentages. If you don't, it's just going to be this crapshoot number that is essentially way, way off and diluted by every other group out there that should be its own focus group, and you just toss them all into a pot and mixing it all up, and that dilutes everything. So, of course, the numbers look lower than they actually are. But it is 93% of first marriages ending within the first 10 years. This comes from the U.S. Census Bureau. Okay? And it's a pretty much believable number. All they do is talk to people, and then 10 years later, they talk to all the same people, and are you still married? No. And so 93.4% of those people are now divorced. But you can't cook those numbers, okay? Those are too honest, too obvious numbers, and you won't hear about those numbers. They have to be cooked. They have to be broken down, and they have to be presented to people as something else, because if people knew the truth, that it was 93.4% of all first marriages that end in divorce, nobody would fucking get married. That would be very bad for the government. TSA trash on the always believe her narrative. 400+ pound woman. Yeah, one of the people, in the video was a big fat slob I was talking about who accused men of essentially raping her. 15 men, and she weighed at least 400 pounds. How do you access her pussy? It's a good question. She's desperate for attention. Yeah, I would say so. Well, maybe not. I mean, I think that woman walking around in public would get a lot of attention. Maybe she's desperate for not getting attention. But maybe she's desperate for attention from men, of course, because she's probably never been fucked in her whole life. 50% of all rapes reported at police stations are false. 82% of college rape claims on college campuses are false. Well, I believe that. I mean, the way that college students essentially label rape, the way that they define it. Oh, he touched me. Oh, he kissed me. Oh, he bumped up against me. Oh, I've been raped. Oh. Everything is invasive to these fucking college kids that needs these little fucking safe spaces. So, yeah, I'm not surprised by that number. If a woman ever charged me with false rape charges, no one would find her body. I'm not going to say that's reasonable, but I'm not going to disagree with you either. Next comment. Sorry, dude. I love it when somebody calls me dude and says sorry. You know it's going to be a negative comment, and it's going to be a funny one, too. Sorry, dude. You're way off on this one. The difference between MGTOW, who still sleep with women, and PUAs is the fact that PUAs still derive their validation from females. No, I don't. I can easily pick up women. I've had times where I'm at a train station, and the next day I'm fucking the chick. So what? What validation did I get? I booted her ass out and talked to her again. Do you think I derived any validation from her? I mean, I enjoyed her company, but then I booted her ass out. And she was like half my age. Ooh, big deal. Yeah, whoa. But what validation did I get? Validating was just for fun. It was fun. No validation for me. I got no validation from her at all. My validation comes from me, from my successes in life, from enjoying what I do, and pursuing the things that make me happy. They do not come from a woman. So you have just made some massively, massively incorrect assumptions based on your own prejudices, obviously, and your personal viewpoint, which is personal, meaning for you, not for anyone else. Next comment. Trisha D. Kuiper, 6 days ago. What's the wall? And women don't know. That's a video she posted on, by the way. Sounds like you hit the wall. Full tilt boogie. You know, she's old. How many young people use the word boogie? With your big fat head. You know this bitch hit the wall a long time ago. Where's your picture, dumbass? Oh, bitch, you making me laugh. Men like you are so clueless and pathetic. You would stick it in a bowl of soup if it was still warm. What? Are you kidding me? No, I wouldn't stick it in a bowl of soup. It's too viscous. There's no friction there. It's just liquid. Are you kidding me? Bowl of soup isn't going to do it for me, honey. I need a ripe, warm, wet vagina. Not yours, of course, because it's too old, stretched out, fat and ugly and wrinkled, and as are you. And I'm sure you hit the wall a long time ago. And that's really what you're angry about, isn't it, baby? Oh, yeah, it is. Next comment. Goddess Blue Yozakura. What's the wall and women don't know? Why is this man comparing pictures of women in their 20s that were alive several decades before I was ever born? Because we are highlighting women who used to be hot and no longer are, who are in fact so ugly now that they look way older than they do because they either had too much plastic surgery or they just let themselves go so much that you don't recognize them. Yeah, and that's bad. I mean, unless you're a man in your 60s or 80s, are you really dating seniors? Most of the women I posted were not senior citizens, okay? So that's a false analogy right there. Many of the men in these same movies are either dead or hideous too, yeah. Yeah, but they got fucking money, honey. Most of them have money so they can get hot-looking young chicks. So their looks are not so important because women don't value looks over money. They value money over looks. Of course, they would like you to have looks, but if you have money, they'll settle for ugly. This would have been awesome if they did comparisons between men and women of the same age and how both age. No, because you're creating false equivalencies here. Men value women for their looks. We don't give a fuck how much money you have. You'll be working at 7-Eleven turning that fucking spit with your hand because the motor's broken and you're fucking turning the spit so the hot dogs will cook evenly. I don't give a shit what you're doing as long as you got a tight ass and a nice body and you're an attractive chick. What the fuck do I care how much money you make? I make enough money for myself. So really, you're making false equivalencies. While women, they care about money. So if I'm a big fat slob, she could give a shit. She'll swallow her pride and she'll fuck me because she thinks she'll get money. So how would comparing men and women of the same age be any way equivalent? It wouldn't be. But of course you don't see that because you're a woman. Next comment. T-Rex on fat women, why men hate them. MGTOW philosopher. Is it lonely up there on your pedestal? No, it's not. I'm never lonely. Can you imagine that? Aren't you just jealous? See, I don't get lonely. I love myself, and I am content with myself. And I do what I love, and I enjoy what I do. So, amazingly, I never get lonely. I don't know what that feels like. Can you tell me? Because, obviously, the statement you're making pretty much indicates that you're lonely all the time. MGTOW philosopher, I hear the air up there is quite thin, too. Be careful up there. I don't have to be careful, bitch. I'm just fine. Yes, this was a woman, of course. A woman who named herself T-Rex. That should tell you something about her, shouldn't it now? Next comment from Ziara on the video, Ask Women These Questions. Which leads to the next question. Where do you think most MGTOWs and feminazis learned and embraced their behavior from before realizing that society is getting screwed because of it? Okay, dummy. Newsflash. MGTOW is not screwing society. MGTOW is essentially a pushback against the feminazis. It's unavoidable. You have action and you have reaction. You don't have action and then no reaction. It's like, for example, if somebody punches me in the face and then I punch them back, these two actions are not morally equivalent. Meaning that the person who punched me in the face is more guilty because they had no excuse, they had no justification while I was defending myself. So essentially what you're saying is that MGTOW and feminism are the same, even though feminism is the one that beat up and is killing men, and so men react to defend themselves by creating a group, by creating a philosophy, or just creating essentially a way of getting away from that destructive atmosphere. That's really all MGTOW is, going your own way. It's just a definition. It's an idea that helps men, and you're saying those two are equivalent. That's very stupid of you, Ziara. It's like saying that the guy that punched back and defended himself is equally guilty. It's very asinine. It's very juvenile. It's very middle schoolish, very elementary schoolish, where two kids fight and they both get suspended for 3 days because the administration has a zero-tolerance policy and they don't recognize self-defense. This is the real world. This is the grown-up world. It's not as black and white as you like to think. It's not as stupid as you like to think either. No. You will always have reactions to actions, and MGTOW is nothing more than a reaction to the actions of society, which has become mostly about man-hating. Sorry, but you are wrong. They are not equivalent. Next, Randy Frick. On my video, these morons advocate for a living wage for everyone. And by the way, if you haven't watched this video, I don't blame you. It's the longest video I've made to date. It's like an hour and a half long because it's a seminar where some idiots are advocating for actually paying people free money every year for doing nothing. Okay, enough of your ignorant pontificating. You mean pontification or pontificating? Okay, whatever, pal. Enough of your ignorant pontification is what you wanted to say. Actually, a basic income would be the honest thing to do. Why is that? Please enlighten us, genius. You see, the U.S. government has been securitizing birth certificates since 1933. June 5th, 1933, the U.S. government went bankrupt. Okay. House Joint Resolution 192 and Public Law 73-10 state that since there is no more money, the U.S. government will be liable for all of the citizens' monetary bills. I love this argument. Okay. Also, governments from the municipal level up run a second set of off-budget books called CAFRs. I'm not about to attempt to educate you here, but invite you to do your own due diligence study, the HJR 192 and CAFRS's peace out. Okay, so essentially because the government supposedly went bankrupt in 1933 and in your mind became liable for citizens' monetary bills, in your mind, that now the government should pay us free money. And where would they get that money from, pal? Aren't they just taking money from us and then giving it back to us? You're talking about recycling tax dollars. How productive is that? And how possible is that? You essentially would have to have half the population slaving away to supply for the other half of the population that's not working. You know what that's called? It's called Marxism, and that was Marx's dream. Have half the productive population working and have the other half that are geniuses, just like he was, of course, artists and writers and creative people, not have to work. Unfortunately, those are the people that are the biggest parasite losers in the planet because they're not productive. They're all just a bunch of pie-in-the-sky hippies, and they don't actually do or produce anything. Like Marx, who was a fucking moron, and he was unproductive. Marx was a loser. This fucking guy was so lazy, he rarely showered, rarely bathed. He was covered in boils because he was such a dirty slob, dirty pig. He hated his kids. He treated his kids horribly. He treated his wife horribly. He banged his live-in maid, had a kid with her. This guy was a scumbag. He had no job, no money. He mooched off his family and his wife's family for his entire life until he died impoverished. And he lived his whole life impoverished too. And this is the guy you morons want to base your governmental systems on. Get a fucking clue. Next comment, Scott D. on Kathy Griffin Strikes Again. You are trash, and all of your fans are trash. All my fans are trash. I love it. This is funny. So clearly we have a Kathy Griffin fan here. He must be a raging leftist. I have no more to say on that. That was just funny. Next comment, Angry Dao Shun, the real divorce rate. Marriage survival should be expressed as a half-life. Publish the half-lives of first marriages, second marriages, third marriages, etc. Perhaps refine the data by wife's age at the wedding. This is all irrelevant. Why would I do that? All you need to do is create a baseline going by specific criteria, meaning when did they get married, and then chart that to a specific date in the future, and then see if they're still married. It has to be people that get married at this specific point in time in that year, which would be a nice, large focus group. That would be a very good, accurate way to look at things. It's a very large pool to draw data from. People got married in X year, got married and divorced in Y year. That's it. That's all you need to do. And that's what the Census Bureau did. And that's where the numbers that I gave you actually came from originally. Thank you for commenting, though. Next comment, Olivia Black. What's the wall? Women don't know. You're just a crazy woman hater, you. Just come out of the closet already. I love it. So it is always what women do. Women always do this shaming tactic. Shame on you. Shame on you for hating women. I don't hate women. I don't hate women. I just know their true nature. It's so obvious to men. I know a woman's true nature. Oh, but if I talk about a woman's true nature, I'm somehow evil. Right? But you ladies, you sit around and cackle all day about what morons men are, and you talk about them like they're fucking idiots, and you talk about them behind your back with your lady friends like he's a fucking moron. But you don't hate men. Yet if I say anything about women that's actually true, unlike the bullshit that you quote about women, about men that you see on these stupid sitcoms and TV shows that try to make men look like idiots, which we're not. Oh, you're not a man-hater. But, of course, if we say anything that's actually true about women, yeah, we hate women. No, I just know who women are. I know what they're good for, which ain't much. And so that's reality. But what they're good for, I like. And I don't hate them. Just come out of the closet already. Oh, yeah, because I see a woman's true nature, I must be gay. Okay. Forgive your mother. You clearly have issues. Forgive my mother? What the hell does she have anything to do with it? Yeah. You got to love how women try to use psychology and everything. They think they're so empathetic. They think they're so emotionally brilliant that they can suss out what issues you might have. It's always the mother, isn't it? It's always this Freudian Oedipus, edible complex, isn't it? Yeah, always something with the mother. Give me a fucking break, honey. Major fail on your part trying to psychologically analyze me. But nice try, though. Made me laugh. Next comment, Radu Elf. Should women be allowed to vote? No. Okay, so let's get to the comment. The right to vote in most cases means nothing. Wrong, pal. Voting chooses the people in power, and those people in power decide what laws are going to be on the books. And those laws that are on the books decide who is superior and who is inferior in society, or whether or not people will be treated equally under the law. So for you to say the right to vote means nothing. Yeah, it means nothing in countries where they don't have the right to vote because they can't vote. But in countries where they have the right to vote, it means everything, you dummy. Don't have anything against women to vote. Well, you're an idiot then. Women who vote is less a problem than other things that involves women. Really? So are you aware that these other things that involve women are problems because they're able to vote? You didn't think about that, did you? MGTOW, I hope it does not become a Nazi-like cult where Topics like that. Let them vote. So what? The problem with someone like this guy, he lacks critical thinking. He doesn't carry step A to step B and step C and see what the eventual outcome is going to be, following simple logic and reason. It is because of voting that women have the powers they do in society to cause trouble for men. They are able to influence the laws, influence the society, influence the narrative because they have too much power, because they outnumber men, because they are the majority of voters. Hence, they are able to influence the social and political sphere. Do you understand now, Radu Elf? I don't think you do, so I'm going to move on. Next, the thought criminal on anti-feminism is just feminism. MGTOW philosopher, no, it's a theory and stays a theory until proven fact. Oh, my God. Hey, thought criminal. Yeah, it's a crime that you've never had an actual thought. Are you aware that the word theory has different meanings depending on the context in which you're using it? In science, a theory is fact. Have you ever heard of the theory of gravity, germ theory, theory of evolution? These are not hypotheticals. You see, people tend to confuse the word theory with hypothetical when it doesn't actually mean some kind of hypothetical construct. Theory actually means fact. Now, the layperson uses it to mean hypothesis, but in science, a theory is not a hypothesis. It is a proven fact. It is an accepted fact. It is a peer-reviewed fact. But I'm not surprised that you don't understand that. No, I'm not surprised that you don't understand that. You're making the obvious mistake that most people do. There are a lot of things you don't understand, but do you really like making a lot of assumptions? Yes, I love assumptions. They're wonderful, don't you know? Next comment from the thought criminal again. Anti-feminism is just feminism. Clearly, I know a lot more about feminism. I believe you, but not more than I do. He's talking to someone else, I believe, someone named Matt. But he's saying that he knows a lot about feminism. Well, I believe you. Leftists know a lot about leftism, but they really don't know the reality of leftism. They know how to be good leftists, but they don't understand the reality of their movement because they're lacking in self-awareness and critical thinking skills, which I have. So I guarantee you, I understand it better than you do, pal. I'm the guy that's outside looking in the window. You're the guy in this crowded fucking room trying to get a look at the faces, everybody in that fucking room, and know what's going on. I'm outside looking in. I see everything that's going on. I'm objective. You're subjective. Don't even think that you understand these things better than I do when you were subjectively involved in them, and I am objectively viewing them with a critical mind and logic and reason. Get a clue, pal. The problem with feminism isn't third-wave feminism. Okay. It was second-wave feminism that took control of the courts and domestic violence industry. Okay. First of all, you got to stop separating feminism into this bunch of wave bullshit. It's all the same thing. Feminism is feminism is feminism. This wave bullshit, it's just tactics on their part. It's just tactics, okay? It's a way for them to have the cake and eat it too, to distract you, to say, oh, those are the evil feminists, but these are the good feminists. These feminists are okay. These feminists have acceptable ideas. It's these that don't. It's bullshit. They're all the same fucking monster. It's like you look at fucking Godzilla and say, oh, his tail is worse than his mouth. Or his giant feet that stepped on that house are worse than his head that's breathing that fire. That's all the same fucking animal, you morons. There's no third wave, second wave, first wave, anti-feminism, which is the fourth wave. They're all feminism. Get a clue. All right, let's continue. So, it was first wave feminism that was pushing for women's rights. Yeah, okay. That's true. Let's continue. And the right to vote, while men did not even have the right to vote. What? And it was first wave feminism. What is this? Okay, this guy must have made a mistake in typing. Men had the right to vote, you moron. What are you talking about? Third wave feminism is the wave that jumped the shark. Oh, okay. So first and second wave, supposedly first and second wave feminism, which are all just the same fucking thing, jumped the shark, and that's not real feminism, right? Yeah, that's not real feminism. So that we can actually see their political corruption and their social Marxist ideology. Oh, wait, what do you mean? You mean the political corruption and social Marxist ideology of all feminism? You just said it was only third-wave feminism that jumped the shark, but in your very next breath, you said their political corruption and social Marxist ideology, meaning all feminists. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't say that the only problem is third wave feminism and then say that all feminism is politically corrupt and socially Marxist. You moron, you! Now, it was female nature that led to the creation of feminism in the first place, but I thought the only third wave feminism was the problem. But first and second are okay. It's the third that jumped the shark, right? You idiot. But that is men's fault, not women. For centuries, we have pampered and protected women. Okay. And by doing so, made them spoiled and privileged as a class. Traditional values. Men earn what is given them. Women have it handed to them. This needs to change. Well, that's certainly the case now. But in the past, women had to work in the household, okay? Any privileges they had, they earned by being mothers and housewives and raising the kids, okay? They worked for privileges that they had. The difference now is today, that's right. Today, that's true. They don't. Okay? But they have privileges now that they didn't earn the right to, such as voting, because they're not required to die for their country. The draft does not include women, yet they get the same privileges and rights as men, even though they don't have to put up or shut up. This needs to change, and you don't change this by talking about women's right to vote. Yeah, you do. You change this by holding women accountable. Well, that too. And many anti-feminist women want women to be accountable. No. No. You don't get it, man. They're still feminists. Anti-feminists are feminists. They just want to rebrand it. They know that the message of third wave feminism is unpalatable. Okay? They know that it turns people off, so they turn to anti-feminism. They say they're anti-feminist, just like the Antifa say they're anti-fascist, but they're the biggest fascists in the world, and all of us know it. And if you listen to the anti-feminists message, they're feminists. They might be less radical in the way that they portray feminism, but they're still just as radical in the sense that they're feminists, they're egalitarians, they believe that men and women are equal, they believe women should have the right to vote, even though women do not earn that right by being available for the draft, being required to be drafted and die for their country, and they don't even put as much money into the system and taxes as they take out. There's a net negative. Women don't pay taxes. So what the fuck do they have the right to vote for? All this bullshit. Oh, women pay taxes. No, they don't. If they put in 70% and they take out 80% as a whole, what the fuck are you talking about? They pay taxes. No, they don't. Next comment. Franco Anoni, the real divorce rate. I am a researcher, and about 15 years ago, I did a study on just this subject. I found that within the first 2 years, the real divorce rate was nearly 50%. Right. Tell me, how can you have a divorce rate of 50% when in the first 2 years, the divorce rate is nearly 50%? And he's talking about all the people that got married 2 years prior. He's not talking about looking at all marriages in a particular year or everybody that's involved in a first marriage, whether they got married 1 year ago or 50 years ago. Well, I went out to 10 years and found a number statistically similar to yours. I then went out 20 years and found only a small percentage were still married at that point. Right. Interestingly, as of the last 10 years, there's a trend that has been developing in those marriages that lasted out past 20 years. That is, elderly women are now divorcing their husbands and taking them to the cleaners in their retirement. So even all the old fogies that are supposedly success stories are now getting divorced because the goodies and getting away from their fucking annoying husband that they really don't like, but now they have no incentive, no need to stay with them anymore because the system rewards them so much. Now they're getting divorced too, all the old fucking fogies. This is new. In the past, those marriages that lasted 30 or 40 years and longer used to last until death. That's because a woman had incentive to stay, okay? You didn't have no-fault divorce. She couldn't just up and leave and get half his shit and be entitled to alimony and half his whatever he's getting, his pension and whatever. Now that's not the case. This infectiousness has spread amongst women, even in their elderly years. Thank you for spreading the word about this. I tried telling people, but no one would listen to me. Of course not, because they are all blue-pilled, and most of them are married, and they want to continue to believe that their marriage will last. But of course, when it ends, they will blame themselves. They will not blame the system, which is rigged. Next, from Franco Anoni. It's the same. Okay. Right. Sorry, I just read the same one again twice. Next, Vlatko Nedelkovsky. And the video, anti-feminism is just feminism. If you are for women having equal rights, then you cannot be an anti-feminist. It's that simple. Right. That's what I said. Women don't have equal rights. Women don't have the same rights. Women should not have the same rights as men. because they don't do the same things. They don't contribute in the same ways to society. They don't have the same requirements placed upon them in society. So they should not get the same rights. It makes perfect sense to me because rights are not rights. They're actually privileges. You can lose them anytime. You have to fight for them time and time again. I talked about this in my video, Should Women Have the Right to Vote? That these things are not rights. They're all privileges because you could be beat up and killed for exercising them in any time, including your freedom of speech. You can say what you want, but somebody might punch you in the face. There's a cost. There's a price to pay for these privileges. And certain privileges, women have not paid the price, so they don't deserve to have them. I agree with you wholeheartedly, Lucas. Thank you for your comment. Next comment, Ivan Figueroa. And the video is Anti-Feminism is Just Feminism. Wow, this one really got a lot of negativity from people. I guess they just can't accept the fact that their hope and dream of actually having unicorns out there who are against feminism isn't true. I think MGTOW philosophy makes some massive generalizations about women. Well, you kind of have to make big generalizations, pal, because there's a lot of women, and to generalize all them women, you make large or broad generalizations about them, which puts it on the same level as feminism. No, because feminism is action. We're just guys bitching and moaning in a fucking chat room and not having anything to do with women. They're just pumping and dumping them, okay? We're not trying to take all their fucking shit or get involved with them so we can steal from them and use their resources. It's not the government trying to get people married so that they'll spend more money and thereby further increase debt and put their kids that they have into public schools and turn them into sheep for the system. No. Feminism and MGTOW are very different. Stop making this false equivalency. I mean, there was no legit MGTOW movement in the past. That's because feminism hadn't gotten as bad as it has now. It's called action and reaction, you know? It's like if you're like a big guy and got a little fucking dog nipping at your heels, right? Now, you'll tolerate the dog for a while because it's a little fucking 2-3 pound chihuahua and it's nipping at your heels like, big deal. It's a fucking chihuahua. Who gives a shit, right? But if you wait long enough, he's nipping away. He fucks up your $200, $300 shoes, and he's biting your skin and say, what the fuck? You just ruined my fucking shoes, and you kick the fucking dog down the fucking block. Okay? It's called an action and reaction. Men are designed. They're trained. We are naturally stoic. We put up with a lot of shit. We just blow it off. No big deal. That's our nature. But eventually people get tired of putting up with shit and they fight back. And that's what MGTOW is. It's a natural reaction. Do not equivocate and do not compare and try to create an equivalency between MGTOW and feminism, between somebody punching a guy in the face and the guy punching back. We are punching back. It's not the same as being the puncher as it is being the punchee. They are not morally equivalent. You need to stop making this mistake. Next comment, Joseph Wara. Again, anti-feminism is just feminism. Oy vey, okay. Notice how almost every anti-feminist used to be a raging, man-hating feminist just a year or two ago. Why this sudden conversion? Oh, well, I can tell you. Because it wasn't working. Because they saw that people were starting to hate them, laugh at them, look at them with a sideways glance. Yeah, you're a feminist, huh? We don't like feminism anymore. Feminism isn't popular anymore. The word feminism is not popular. So they rebranded themselves and they ratcheted back their message. But deep down, they still have the same man-hating, negative feelings towards men and all the same beliefs, but they've seen that doesn't work. So they need to change their branding. They need to change the packaging. They need to change the delivery. That's all. Anti-feminism is just feminism. That's all it is. It's just a Trojan horse to try and introduce these same feminist ideas, but in a more acceptable way, okay? And to get men to take women back because nobody wants these women. But if they become anti-feminist, it gives hope to men. And most of these people peddling this bullshit are just women who want to take advantage of men by introducing this hope into them that women and men can be reunited, reunification as it were, because, there are unicorns out there. Yes, these women are anti-feminist. That means they're pro-male, and I can have women again, and I can have relationships again. Oh, you pathetic losers, you've been duped. You've been duped again. Oh, they're duping you. They're manipulating you, and you're ready to be manipulated. You want to be manipulated. You're so easily manipulated by women. Wake up. Red pill yourself to reality. Use logic and critical thinking. They're still feminists. They're still egalitarians. They've all the same beliefs, okay? They're just telling you what you want to hear. And if you ask them if they still believe in equality, if they still believe in egalitarianism and the right to vote and all that bullshit, and they say yes, well, they're still feminists. And you know that deep down they have the same beliefs that every other feminist does. It's indoctrination. It's been bred into them. Women are perhaps the most stalwart leftists of all. You are not going to retrain them, okay? You're not going to put them into any re-education centers and get them to disavow this bullshit. The kind of zealotry that they have about leftism, it's inundated into them. It's indoctrinated in. It cannot be untaught, okay? It's like a fucking cult. It's a religion. It's like the fucking Scientology, okay? These people believe in that fucking Xenu and dropping all of those aliens in the fucking volcanoes. I mean, that tells you how stupid and gullible people are, okay? They're not gonna change their views. They're just telling you what you want to hear. They even admit that they are feminists, or that they were feminists. Perhaps if they promised to only beat their slaves with wooden clubs instead of iron rods, the runaways will now happily return to their plantation and slip the chains on themselves again. Yeah, I agree with you. It's a bad deal. Don't fall for this anti-feminist bullshit, guys. Anti-feminism is quote unquote the fourth wave of feminism. All these waves, they're not real. It's just women's attempts at certain points to repackage the same bad product to sell it to people of a different era, and all. That's all it is. They're just trying to repackage, rebrand every couple decades to try and make it a sellable product. That's it. They're all the same thing. They're all the same animal. Next comment from Dirk Steele, A Short History of Evil Feminism. Okay, and Dirk says, as a white male, I am sick of blacks ruining every goddamn city they live in, then trying to blame me for shit that was ended by white people. Finally, something that's not about feminism. Oh, well, in a way it is, actually. But I'm not going to get into the connections here in terms of minorities and oppression and all that fucking leftist bullshit speak. Let's talk about the comment itself. Yeah. Well, this is pretty common, okay? Oppressed people, supposedly oppressed people, professional victims, they always want to blame people who do better than them. Yeah. A little fucking gratitude would be nice, being that most slaves were rounded up and sold by blacks. That's true. That's true. Most blacks were sold by other blacks. Learn some fucking history and get rid of the chip on your shoulder. I agree. Blacks aren't oppressed. They're just lazy and unwilling to better themselves. It's a bit of an oversimplification. Much of it is that they are told that they can't get ahead. They are given excuses to not get ahead. And so, of course, they don't get ahead. Next comment from Encoding Systems. And the video is A Short History of Evil Feminism. I agree. The biggest mistake the country ever made was giving the low IQ African race, bringing the low IQ African race over here. They are incompatible with Western civilization. Well, yeah, in many ways they are. Those whites should have left them to their mud huts and cannibalism. Lincoln understood this and wanted to send them back to Africa, but the plan was never implemented because he was assassinated by an actor. I think this is very interesting because if you look at the parallels between today and back then, it's very interesting to note that the actors back then were even bigger, as just as big a liberal as the actors today. All these artists and these touchy-feely types who are all about feelings and emotions and art, they're not about critical thinking. So they're some of the worst liberals out there, bar none. And, of course, back then, you know, Lincoln didn't have his Secret Service. He just walked around like a regular guy, so it was much easier to get access to him. I mean, if Trump didn't have his Secret Service people and walked around just like fucking Lincoln did, you know, somebody would have shot him in the fucking head by now. And I wouldn't be surprised if it was some kind of out-of-work fucking actor or something like that did it. Hey, vey. And, yeah, Africans should have been sent back to Africa after slavery was ended. Then they couldn't bitch and moan about essentially white people making their lives horrible. They could get to go back and they get to live in the mud huts and they get to run around the jungle and hunt monkeys with poison arrows and shit and live off of mangoes and bananas and shit and get malaria and all that nice stuff. And yeah, then they'd really have a lot to complain about and they wouldn't be able to blame white people. But of course they would still blame white people because they'd say, oh, God damn it, they took us from Africa in the first place and now we don't have the skills to survive in Africa. God damn them. It'd always be somebody else's fault except theirs, of course. Next comment from Emperor Palpatine. The video, A Short History of Feminism. All waves of feminism are trash, and I honestly think the original wave of feminism was demonic, and its doctrine was the doctrine of demons. 100% agreed. Next comment. The real divorce rate. Just had our 35th wedding anniversary. We have several hundreds of years of marriage in our family. Only one divorce. She's remarried too, which means you were the divorce. Interesting. So you've been divorced before. You have already had a first marriage that failed. Your wife had a first marriage that failed. And you're telling me that the real divorce rate that I quoted is false. And by the way, you have several hundreds of years of marriage in your family. That does not speak to anything except that your relatives are going to be like you. There are 6.6% of first marriages that survive past the first 10 years. I didn't say it didn't happen, but that's a small number compared to the majority. You don't like those numbers? Too bad. You just sound like a poor loser to me. No, I'm just somebody that can do math. Next comment. Ken Bell Chambers, the real divorce rate. You are making a large fundamental error in your dissertation. Feminism is not left or liberal. It is essentially right-wing and fascist. Is that a fact? If you belittle the left and liberal, where do you wind up? Better off than we are now, because the left and the liberals are all for social welfare programs and enabling poor people to continue to be poor so they can vote for the leftist liberals in office. Answer. With the far-right bastards who are already running the show. No, they're not. Almost every major city in the country is run by a Democrat. And take a look at them. Take a look at Chicago. Take a look at Detroit, you moron. The liberal left have done many great things in our society. No, they haven't. The liberal left, the Democrats, are the party of racism. They're the party of the Dixiecrats. They're the party of the KKK, okay? They've never been for minorities. They just use them to get reelected by giving them lots of free shit. And whether or not there are those who abuse the system, it is better than homelessness and starvation. What does that mean? That you just changed the argument. I don't know what the hell that has to do with your argument, so I'm not even going to address it. That's a random comment. It has no place in the argument. But do not let the elite trick you into shitting in your own nest by belittling socialism. Ah? Belittling socialism. Socialism is both democratic and republican. Oh my God, this guy tries to fucking insert socialism into his argument. No, socialism is not democratic and republican. You have a small minority ruling the majority. You have the most aggrieved people, the so-called oppressed people, and they are telling everybody else what they can say and what they can do. That is not democratic or republican, you idiot. A republic is what we are supposed to have. We're supposed to be a constitutional republic. We're not a democracy anyway, you idiot. We're not supposed to be a democratic government. That's one of the worst possible governments you could have. We're not a democracy, you fool. We're a constitutional republic. Because it is designed to address the issues created by the greedy minority. Oh, yes, the greedy minority. Yeah, all money is wealth distribution. There's just a set amount of money. There's just one pie, and the pie just gets shifted around, and there's some greedy people out there just taking too much of the pie. They're taking my pie. I don't have my own pie because some rich son of a bitch broke into my house and stole my pie. Really? He didn't just earn his own fucking pie. He just didn't make his own fucking pie. And you're too fucking lazy to make your own pie. Oh, so if there's 4 guys in a room, and one guy has $5, and the other people have like $1, he stole the money from them, right? This is the fundamental idiocy of this guy's argument and of socialism. The idea that there is some kind of privileged majority who is stealing people's money. Wealth is created. It's not redistributed unless done by government at the point of a gun. People create their own wealth. They create their own pie. They create their own wealth. It's not redistributed. It wouldn't matter. If you got rid of the rich people, you would have no more money. In fact, you would have less money than you do now. Okay? Because they create and are so productive that they give you fucking jobs that you wouldn't have otherwise because you were a lazy sack of no good shit who doesn't produce anything. And what you really feel for the so-called greedy minority is envy because they have more than you and you have less. So you envy them. Right. That's really what socialism is all about. Envy. Next comment from Lele Fountain. And my video, Fat Women and Why Men Hate Them. you're a big jerk, and I absolutely hate the way you talk about women like that you deserve to die in a big hole, and bigger, die in a hole, and bigger women are killing themselves because of people like you. No, big women are killing themselves because they're eating too much, sweetheart. If they stopped eating so much, they wouldn't kill themselves. What the hell does that have to do with me? Are you saying that I make them depressed in some way because I don't want to have anything to do with them? I don't want to fuck them, and so they're lonely, and so they get lonely, so they feel lonely, and so they eat because they're lonely? That's the stupidest thing I ever heard. That's so stupid. That's circular reasoning, if I ever heard it. If you dated a woman who was bigger than you, she had an amazing personality. Or would you have a skinny girl, but she was mean and was a jerk like you? Would you date her? There's no periods. This is just a continuous run-on sentence. I can't follow it. I think what you tried to say is, would I prefer a nice fat woman or a nasty skinny woman? Neither. I think I could fall. Wait. So you're saying to me that by default being fat is nice, and by default being skinny is ugly? So you're trying to essentially say that skinny is evil and fat is good. So you're trying to turn being fat into some kind of like a good thing, and being skinny is a pejorative? Nice try, sweetheart. Okay? You are so mean and never should have been brought into this world because so many people die and commit suicide because of big fat jerks like you. First of all, I'm not fat. Second of all, something like 87% of suicides are men. So women very rarely kill themselves instead of in regards, if you compare them to women. I don't see you complaining, though, about men killing themselves. I'm sure you're perfectly fine with that. Even though they're the majority of suicides, you just care about the majority of women who kill themselves, so it is in no way comparable to men. Okay. You will never understand what they go through. Well, they don't have to be fat. They could just stop eating. What are you thinking about making this video? I can never understand how such a jerk like you. You're so big and mean and rude and the worst I have ever heard of. Oh, my God. Well, first of all, honey, you're clearly uneducated. You can't write worse shit. You got like a 4th grade understanding of English, and your grammar is terrible. Beyond that, my problem with fat women is because they make themselves fat. I got no problem with people who have cancer. You got cancer, it's not necessarily your fault unless you're a fucking smoker, of course. Then it's your fault. Then I have no sympathy for you. Just like if you're fat because you have a glandular problem, I have sympathy for you because it's not your fault. But less than 2% of people have these problems, and it's not big bones either. It's because you're eating too much fucking Haagen-Dazs and sucking down too many little Debbies. That's your problem. I feel no pity for you, and if you want to shoot yourself in the head, be my guest. Next. The Jade Fist 2 days ago. But if you do, don't blame me. I have... Suicide is not the answer. And quite frankly, again, 87% of suicides are men, not women. So you ladies are not killing yourselves all that much. And you talking about it like that makes it seem like female suicide is somehow a bigger problem. Well, I'm sure it's a bigger problem for you because you don't care about men. Next, the Jade Fist 2 days ago. Stop illegal aliens. I love how they try to argue for open borders because we're all immigrants. Everybody in every goddamn country, in every place on the earth is an immigrant. We all came from somewhere else. We all migrated to someplace else. And in migrating, we essentially kicked other people out so we could live there. Does that mean that everybody has the right to go live wherever they want and the borders don't mean anything? No. And by the way, most Mexicans are Spanish with Spanish ancestry. So give me a fucking break about these Mexican people saying that, but we're not a nation of immigrants, so our laws are different, and so America's different because you're a nation of immigrants, so we should be able to come there, but you can't go to Mexico. Hey, idiot. The fucking Spanish went into Mexico hundreds of years ago, and they settled there, and they had babies. Spanish babies. You were all immigrants too. What the fuck are you talking about? So I should be able to come live in Mexico, but I don't want to because it's a fucking shithole with no opportunities. Next, Frank James on the wall. Women don't know what it is. You sound like a fat fucking slob. Yeah, but I'm not. Next comment from Irish XX Celt. ADHD is a hoax. If you have a child or relative with this disorder, there is no such disorder. You wouldn't be making fun of it. And girls can have it too. No, they cannot because it doesn't exist. This is the thing. This is the fucking thing. If you create this fantasy disorder, this is just like that bullshit with the fucking vaccines that supposedly cause autism. It's all bullshit. The original study was a hoax. It was written by a guy who just wanted to push some bullshit agenda, push some bullshit drugs. It was a bullshit study. It was a lie, a 100% lie. It was proven to be a lie. This was ages ago, and that's where all the people's recent fears over vaccines come from. It's from that source, a study that was total bullshit. It was covered in the news. This guy admitted he lied. There's no connection between autism and vaccines. Yet people, all this time, continue to believe it to this day. And back before it was proven to be false, people were creating this connection between the two because they had what's called confirmation bias. They would see something wrong with their kid, and then they would, if they found out the kid had autism, the vaccine caused it. Oh, confirmation bias, confirmation bias, confirmation bias. Well, same thing here. Oh, I see something wrong with my kid. It fits these bullshit symptoms. Oh, my kid it's ADHD that's causing it. It's ADHD that's causing it. It's ADHD that's causing it. No. It's just that boys these days are held up to female behavior standards, and women raising kids no longer know what the proper standards are for male behavior, because not only have the boys and the men been raised with female behavior standards as the gold standard, but they have not been taught what male behavior is. They don't know anything about what is proper, correct, normal male behavior. So they see this behavior that goes against the gold standard as female behavior, and if it goes way against it, oh, well, that kid's got big problems. No, it couldn't just be that he has a lot of energy. He has a lot of enthusiasm. He's very intelligent, and he needs a man to teach him how to channel that energy and teach him discipline. Oh, no, it can't be that he just needs a man in his life to help teach him how to be a man and how to focus that energy. No. He's got ADHD. It's bullshit. It's not real. It doesn't exist. The guy who invented the motherfucking disorder, he's the inventor of it, for God's sake. Just like this fucking guy who invented this bullshit narrative about fucking vaccines causing autism. Except this was proven to be a lie not long after he fucking invented this bullshit. But people continue to believe it to this day. This guy admitted it on his fucking death just weeks before he died. I made up this diagnosis along with a couple other people. We got together, we made it up, but it's really bullshit. It's not a real disorder. We just created it to sell drugs and shit. That's all. It was just made up. But people to this day still continue to believe it. It's still pushed as reality. Just like that BMI. Y'all know what BMI is, a body mass index. That was created by some guy in the fucking 18th century who was a mathematician. Or the 18th, 19th century. He knew nothing about human health or fitness or anything. He made a body mass index based upon the Greek standard, or what's supposed to be the Greek standard for the ideal man and woman's physique. I mean, the truth of the matter is that it's total bullshit, and yet the government uses that as its guide. And fucking insurance companies use this as their guide to whether or not people qualify as being healthy or not. Don't believe this bullshit. ADHD is not in any way real. It was created to sell drugs, and it was created to emasculate men. Nothing more. And turn them into essentially de facto women. Next comment. Also from Irish Keld. How dare you, you ignorant kid. Ignorant kid, I'm pushing 50, honey. I'm a fucking ignorant kid. You're a moron. I know a woman who was diagnosed in her 50s with ADD. It's actually ADHD, for one thing. And another, no, it's not real. Nobody in their 50s is diagnosed with ADD. I'm going to speculate here. I'm going to go out on a fucking limb, and I'm going to say that this woman who was diagnosed with ADD essentially is someone who, I don't know, maybe she has early onset dementia, or maybe, who knows what the fuck she got. I don't know any details about this woman, but she's diagnosed at 50 with ADD. Give me a break. This is such bullshit. Which explains why she was odd. I see. Confirmation bias. So you saw symptoms in someone that essentially match what you've been taught are symptoms of ADD, so you make the connection to these ADD. I see. I taught a first year who had attention difficulties. What is it with people that they believe that having problems with paying attention is some kind of disorder? Learn to pay attention better. Train your mind. People do not take ownership of themselves anymore. You know, you can train yourself to have better cognitive skills, better critical thinking, to have better attention skills, better focus. You don't need a drug. And Not having those things in great amount just means you haven't worked to honestly develop them more. It doesn't mean you have a fucking illness. Don't be a fucking moron and take what are essentially uppers, fucking amphetamines, because you have wrongly assumed that ADHD is a real thing. Even before my mother admitted to me, I saw it. And I was teaching 1-to-1. Oh, well, you know then, don't you? I don't care who or what was said before anyone died. Of course you don't, because you have an agenda, you have a narrative, you have a belief, and nobody is going to tell you that vaccines don't cause autism because you've seen it. You've seen it for yourself. Even though that doctor that supposedly, that made up this story, this doctor who said that vaccines cause autism, admitted later he just made the shit up. But you're invested now. You're personally invested, so you must believe it. You have to believe it. It's 100%. You must believe it. Yeah, woman, please. I don't need to insult my intelligence to do research. Yes, you don't need to insult your intelligence by researching something, because research might actually disprove what you believe. So don't go looking for information that might actually educate you and change what you believe and tell you the truth. No, I want to stay ignorant and uninformed. Okay, posted by some unqualified wingnut whack job who has too much time in his hands. No, honey, you don't know anything about my time. I wish I had more time. I don't have enough time, to be honest. Someone who bashes a keyboard in his mother's back kitchen. My mother's dead, honey. And I'm not in her kitchen. Ay, ay, ay. Who said I had a child? What planet are you on? Oy vey. I'm done with that comment. Next. Ivan Figueroa. They always believe her narrative. MGTOW and feminism are both part of the New World Order. Fuck that. No, MGTOW is in no way a part of the New World Order. It is a pushback against the New World Order. It is men have been punched in the face enough, and they have the audacity to swing back. Not the same thing. Not morally equivalent. Next. Wendy Colby on fat women and why men hate them. More men are obese in U.S. states and territories than women. Yes, but we have more money, and women care about money more than they do looks, so it's not equivalent at all. So, I don't know what your point is, honey. You're comparing apples to oranges. Men and women both value different things in each other, so it doesn't matter that men are fatter than women by and large. The first shall be last on anti-feminism is just feminism. MGTOW will result in the exact opposite of its intended purpose. You will fully hand over society to old, cranky, liberal feminists. Let them have it. See how long they hold it with no money. See how long they have it without our resources. Not very long. No white male or black male should be MGTOW. Now, who are you to decide who should? Oh, so we should stay with women. I see. So your idea is that essentially we stay with the old cranky liberal feminist bitches and continue to support them and give them resources and have kids with them and thereby transfer our wealth to them, making them even more powerful and influential in society, and that's better than going our own way and taking that power away from them. Methinks your logic isn't very logical. Your population is dying. You are handing over America to the exact women you claim to hate. No, you're mistaking breaking up with and not having relationships with women with handing over a country to them. We're actually taking power back by not enabling them to have more power than they already do by getting into a situation where we transfer our wealth and resources to them. If you want to stop the feminists and become alpha polygamists, really? So instead of having just one wife suck me dry, I could have 6 or 7. Oh, that's a good idea. Set strict cultural rules for your wives. You can't control one fucking Western woman. How are you going to control 6? It doesn't work. The only people that accept this polygamy bullshit are generally Mormons. That's it. It's people who have these extreme religious views. The majority of American women would in no way accept polygamy. Your argument is totally specious. Build a family legacy. Buy land. Start farms. Farms? What? Are you going to go back to being a farm? What? Oh, my God. So your solution is to become a not only a polygamist, but something like is to essentially become a Amish polygamist. I see. Okay, that's a very interesting solution. All right. Buy land, start farms, start generational family clans, build businesses, and employ your children. It sounds like a hippie commune to me, buddy. It sounds like the socialist utopia that we're trying to fight against. MGTOW is cowardliness. It promotes male whore culture. No, it doesn't. Ain't nobody giving me money. I'm not selling myself to anybody. The only whore culture is a man who's giving his money to a woman in exchange for her vagina, okay, and access to it. No. That's the only whore culture going on, and men are fools to do it. It does not promote patriarchy. What are you talking about? Well, you're right about that. We certainly don't have a patriarchy. That's for sure. MGTOW is anti-patriarchy. First of all, MGTOW is anti-giving our shit to women. That's it. We're just going our own way. Leave us alone. Oh, no, but women need our resources. So they don't want that. You need patriarchy to truly fight feminism. So your solution is to get into relationships with cranky old feminists and then force them to become worshipers of patriarchy, even though they're feminists, and they would never stand for that. And then they'll divorce you and take half your shit, and then that gives feminists even more power. Yeah, I think you didn't think about this argument. Start organizations that offer free classes that deprogram women. How many women are going to go to those? And by the way, you can't deprogram these people. It's like the Manchurian Candidate shit, man. They're liberals. They spent their whole lives being indoctrinated into this shit. You might as well try to deprogram Christians out of believing in God, because it's the same fucking thing. And offer alternatives to whore feminism. Like what? What alternative? You need to start a positive manhood group. MGTOW makes males sound like whining children. Oh, you're a pussy, pal, okay? Men complaining about actual problems is not whining children. It's men standing up for themselves. Of course, it's not whining children when women do it, and women complain all the fucking time. Oh, but it's okay for them to do it. In fact, we must change society and bend over backwards to change society for women. But of course, we can't do that for men. If men whine, if men complain, it's a pejorative, but if women do it, it is not a pejorative. Okay, your power and your ability to create dynasties, create matrimony websites for anti-feminists. Anti-feminism is feminist, you idiot. Anti-feminism is just another word for the feminist movement. It's just feminists trying to Trojan horse in their ideas of feminism and make them more acceptable, because they know the third wave feminism is toxic, it's poisonous, it hasn't been accepted. So they've simply changed the branding, they've changed the packaging to try and make it more acceptable. But anti-feminist women are not the answer. They are liars. They are not anti-feminist. They are feminists. They are for egalitarianism. They are for equality for women. They are for privileges in society without earning those privileges. They do not want to lose any of the power that they have. They simply want men to come back to them, and they can't get men. And so they're essentially trying to change the branding, change the packaging, and call themselves anti-feminist, so you will take them back. And they say a few nice things about men, but not really. They just equivocate, and they create arguments of moral equivalency and say, oh, well, men are bad, but women are just as bad, so, you know, feminism's wrong. Women are not better than men, and, you know, they're both equally bad. Yeah, okay. No, they're just feminists. We need a movement of manhood empowerment. Right. So you know the answer. Isn't it amazing that this guy knows more than all the other guys out there who have gone their own way? And he has the answer, right? It's manhood empowerment. Well, you go ahead and try that, pal. You see how well that works. Meanwhile, I'm going to keep going my own way. I'm not going to marry some old cranky hag under your idea of what would work and start some fucking clan of Amish fucking patriarchy, fucking 6 wives farming and swinging away the fucking hose all day on some fucking commune. Yeah, that's a real good idea, pal. You go try that. Let's see how well it works out. You contact me in 30, 40 years and let me know how your little fiefdom that you want to create is working out. I'm done talking about this comment. Oh, wait, maybe not. We need a movement of manhood empowerment, not MGTOW. MGTOW is the death of culture and society. It's just as bad as feminism. No, it's just a reaction to feminism. Feminism is action. Men's and MGTOW is just a lack of action. We just want to go our own way. We don't want anything to do with women. We just want to be left alone. That's not the same as feminism. There's out there actively protesting and engaging with people and trying to get them to do what they want them to do and shouting people down and essentially bullying people and protesting and getting the government to do what they want because they vote. And so the politicians to pass all these favorable laws for women. In fact, MGTOW would be better if it adopted some of the leftist morons' ways of doing things and actually got out there and was active instead of just being so passive and apathetic about things. But anyway, I don't know who started MGTOW. It was probably the same types that started feminism. No, because women didn't actually have any real oppression. Men are actually getting slapped around and beat up all the time. They take half our shit. They take our kids. We have to pay them alimony for past use of a fucking vagina. They steal our houses. They get paid by us for 18 years. What are you talking about? MGTOW and feminism are the same. I don't see MGTOW taking half of women's shit and taking women's kids away from them and biasing courts and the legal system and the government against women. So how can you equate the two, you idiot? I suggest you watch my video, MGTOW and feminism. They're not the same. You moron. All right. MGTOW and feminism or depopulation programs. No. That's just an incidental occurrence. And by the way, stupid people are always going to have kids, so don't worry about depopulation, pal. The dumb people will always keep having kids. And last comment from Melvin1134. The real divorce rate in America. Okay, I'm failing to see the reason for this rant. So the divorce rate is 96.5. No, it's 93.4, okay? Or whatever. Sale tax is the same for everyone. Don't know what that has to do with anything. Couples filing jointly as married couples pay less than individuals. So you're saying we should all get married because we pay less in taxes. But really, the cost of living skyrockets, and we actually end up paying more overall. And when we get divorced, then the man has to support two households. The woman has to work more. The man has to work more to bring in more money. You end up paying way more. So your argument holds no weight. What you say about education, the banks and the governments is irrelevant. What I say about the banks and the government and education system is very relevant because people get married, they have kids, then those kids are raised by the fucking state because the parents have no time to talk to the kids and raise the kids because they're spending all that fucking time working, okay? And the banks love it because those people are working their asses off. They're borrowing a lot of money. They're building up a lot of debt. They have a lot of credit. And therefore, that's what the banks love because America is a debt-based economy. You are a moron. Same indoctrination, debt slavery happens to everyone despite marital status. No, it doesn't, because marriage costs a lot more money. Men tend to save money. Women tend to spend money. 78 to 80% of all spending is done by women, not men. Men save. So the only way to get the money that the men have, which is the majority of money, is to get them to marry a woman who will then spend their money, and then they will get divorced, and then she will get even more of his money, and then you will increase the expenses for both households by splitting them up, and now two houses have to be supported, so then the man has to work more, and then he's got to pay her more money than he would have when she was living with him, and then she's got a whole separate household for expenses to pay for, then she has to work as well, and then she's got to raise more money to support her lifestyle, and he's got to work more. So you've essentially doubled the cost of living, trebled the cost of living, and the amount of money that they have to earn and spend, and boy, do they have to spend it too. And of course, you have the added benefit that the kid gets raised by just one parent, who is the woman in 90%, 95% of the cases, and maybe 5% of the cases, the man gets the kid, and so he gets raised by an angry, bitter whore, or by the state, actually both, and so you raise a leftist who will be a useful sheep for the state. So your arguments make no sense, and you don't know what the hell you're talking about. And I'm going to end there. I'm the MGTOW philosopher. Sorry for the length of this video. It was a few more comments than I probably should have thrown in there, but these were my favorite for the week. Hope you enjoyed, and have a nice day. Take care.